Will Smith is finally answering the questions we've all been wondering about after he smacked Chris Rock at the Oscars. So first, he offered up another apology, this time speaking directly to Chris on video. Take a listen.
I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world.
Wow. So Will also talked about whether his wife Jada had anything to do with it. Watch.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, you know, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe.
Wow. Always want to hear from our viewers, so please also chime in. Al, as a comic, as just an everyday person, you're not everyday. But
no, I'm fine with that, yeah.
What do you think, because we all watched it live, I mean, most of America did. What do you think of his apology? Do you buy it? Do you think he's going to be cancelable?
I bought the apology, and I buy that he made a choice. And I think what a lot of times, especially until you have a greater perspective the older you get, you understand that you made a choice, but you never factor in what the other person is going to do. And he made a choice that night. And he was like, you know what, you're talking about my wife. We've had some issues in the past. I'm going to go ahead and assault you. And that was his choice, and he made it, and he carried it out. What he didn't factor in is what, like we always, the art of war, Sun Tzu, that he had the position of leverage at that point. He had the high ground. He took advantage of that. But now, time has passed. And now, he's given all that leverage to somebody that speaks for a living.
Wow.
He's given all that leverage to somebody who has access to every single microphone, and his friends who have access to every single microphone. And don't forget, comedy is, yes, joke, joke, ha ha, but really it's shaping an argument and a narrative in a way that people had not thought about to get people to see it your way. So I don't know, Will. It might be a little rough going, but he made a decision, Jeff, and he's got to ride it out.
I appreciate you saying that. I just want to add a little more context. This is what Chris Rock said about the slap on Sunday in front of a microphone. Quote, anyone who says words hurt has never been punched in the face. But I'm not a victim. Yeah, that bleep hurt. But I shook that bleep off and went to work the next day. I don't go to the hospital for a paper cut. So yeah, Chris has the leverage now and can do what he wants when he wants. I found it very sincere. I appreciated it, especially when he spoke about disappointing people. And he said that for Will Smith, for him, is the biggest trauma he has. And I have that when I disappoint people. So I felt that.
Yeah, I felt it too, right?
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed in Will Smith. I'm not mad at him.
Me too.
There's going to be repercussions for his actions, just like what you said, Al. When I disappointed my parents and they weren't yelling at me or screaming at me, and they just go, I'm disappointed in you, and just close the door, those are things that I remember from my childhood that really, I would sit in my room and be like, something happened. So I did something wrong. I don't know what it is yet completely. I knew what I did wrong, but it really made me think. I think Will has really had time to think. He's disappointed himself. He's disappointed that he disappointed his fans.
So many people.
And I think there is room for a comeback, always. And I hope this has something to do with canceling that cancel culture, which is where we're going to get to next. But there needs to be a road for redemption. Is it Will personally, or is it because he's got a movie coming out? And the box office, he got paid $35 million for. They don't want that to flop, right? Because there's other people invested. It's not just Will. It's not just his family. He employs hundreds of people. And his actions that day set back a lot of people. Now it's Chris's turn to do his thing.
To the actions, and then we'll move on to the next beat that you just brought up, but to the point of how many people he disappointed, he didn't just apologize to Chris Rock. He apologized to Chris Rock's mother, Chris Rock's family, specifically Tony Rock, Jada and his kids, fellow nominees. He really stole that show, right?
Yeah.
And Questlove.
That was what I wanted to see.
Questlove as well. And I really hope that he doesn't get canceled. I hope that everything he said is sincere, and I hope that we continue to see Chris Rock and Will Smith be the example. All right, so on a related note to Jeff's point, we have an interesting question for you all. Is cancel culture canceled? And are we in the midst of the great uncanceling? So the reason that we're asking this is because stars like Kevin Spacey, Lea Michele, and James Franco have all been cast in new projects recently. And after the announcements, there was very little backlash. So does this mean cancel culture is over, or are there, in your opinion, Jeff, some stars that are redeemable, or is it dependent specifically on actions?
I think everybody's redeemable. Kevin Spacey is another question, right? When you're doing things like that, we could battle morally what's right or wrong.
As much battle.
Right, I hear you. But someone like Chris Harrison lost his job, and he was part of The Bachelor, and the numbers show that the ratings show that the numbers went down. I'm not sticking up for what he said. Don't misconfuse what I'm saying, because if you think a punch in the face is the same as what Chris Harrison said, and you want a road back for Will Smith, there needs to be a road back for lesser people, right? And that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't like about cancel culture. The Kevin Spacey's, I'm very surprised about. Harvey Weinstein, absolutely not.
You're talking about crimes there.
I'm talking about people who did something that was unpopular in their opinion. That's ridiculous.
I just have to say, I think it's about an egregious scale, right? Harvey Weinstein's very different than Chris Harrison, and we should have the discernment between the two to do that. Again, no one's being canceled in my point. They're being held accountable. Again, I want to change the word cancel because people use it as a brand and it backfires against us. They're being held accountable according to the scale of what they did.
Chris Harrison doesn't have a job. Harvey Weinstein's in jail. Will Smith is on his road to come back.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So who's the judge and jury?